Welcome aboard, folks, to GPAgency Live. Today, we're going to cover a wide range of topics, all the way from COVID underwriting to special underwriting classes for tobacco use. So stay tuned. We just recently wrote a case with a small group, as small as 3, and where there's a carrier out there, Hartford, that does anywhere from a group of 2 all the way to 100 lives. Would you mind shedding a little light on that for our audience?
Sure. We were searching for one of our newer brokers. He had a case. It was a smaller group, just 3 lives. He wanted the typical short-term, long-term, and group life coverage. And we'd been searching around. It usually falls into a trust product. So that means basically all the small groups get thrown together and they come up with a composite rate. The one downside of that is we weren't able to quote it in-house. And the turnaround time for a group of 3 lives, it's not going to make anybody rich or retire a day or 2 early. So, it's not a product that's, we're out there typically marketing. But we found with the Hartford, one of our newer partners on the group side, that they were able to accommodate this smaller group. They'll go down from 2 lives all the way to 100. But typically in the smaller group, we can quote in-house from 2 to 50 lives.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about Hartford and what makes them so special in the marketplace today?
I think if you've written any group insurance, you've heard of the Hartford before. They're on commercials. They've been around for over 100 years. So they're a quality carrier. They pay the claims and, they pay well commissions. So that's about all you can ask from them. And now that we have the ability to quote it in-house, I think our service time is going to be more manageable and you're going to be able to respond to your clients' requests a lot quicker.
Wonderful. Let's talk about another major player in the marketplace today, and that would be John Hancock. They have this new program we refer to as the Concierge Program. Why don't you enlighten our audience on the value that brings to the table for the brokers out there?
Sure. Everybody probably has a chicken list. You know what a chicken list is, Todd?
Yeah.
You're too afraid to call them, so you call it your chicken list. So those are those individuals that a net worth is greater than $10 million, that they know they need a lot of life insurance, and they don't want to go have a random person come in and draw blood and do all the exam. So what they've created, a program is up to their limits. So it's not limited to $1 million or $2 million, that they will allow your personal physician's exam to be accepted. As long as you've been to that physician in the last 18 months, they'll accept that blood work. So that makes, underwriting those wealthier individuals a lot more attractive. And John Hancock's always been great for our older, less than healthy and wealthy clients. So we found that's another sweet spot.
Now, speaking of underwriting and having to go visit a doctor, there's something unique in the industry this past year that we picked up is a company called Bestow. What do you think is unique about Bestow, and how would you like to share that particular product with our brokers?
Bestow it's the quickest underwriting I've ever witnessed in the 30 plus years I've been doing this. I basically said I like to test things out on myself before I'm going to offer it to our brokers. And so I applied for $1 million of 15-year term, I believe it was. I was approved without blood work, anything, in 3.5 minutes. I timed it. I used to answer all the questions just like you would, and they're automatically hitting your MIB, MVR, script checks, all that stuff behind the scenes, and they gave me an acceptance. 3.5 minutes later, they emailed me the policy. You put in your credit card. You can only pay monthly, and I was approved for an additional. I was having my 5th daughter, so I think that's what prompted this. I said I better get a little bit more life insurance just to make sure I get enough for my wife.
Now, you settled for $1 million, and they do go up to $1.5 million. So what's the criteria on that?
Good question. I don't believe I'm 53, so I believe it's under age 50. Can you go for $1.5 million?
Yeah.
And it wasn't even eligible at the time I purchased it. They were already evolving into that. Next step is they're going to have a waiver of premium on there and other things. But this is stripped down, non-convertible coverage, very affordable. If you want to get some quick insurance in place, that's where I'd probably go.
So who is Bestow, and what makes them so special beyond just their underwriting?
Another good question. They're a private label under North American company who's been around 100 plus years as well. They're a little spin-off, and they just said they were originally going direct to the consumer and bypassing us agents, which, how much we love that in this industry. So then they figured out they can't do it on their own. They've got to run it through independent agents and IMOs like myself.
Now, I understand that the folks that founded that particular company were underwriters from Banner Life. Is there some truth to that?
There was a bunch from Banner, a bunch from MassMutual. It's a pretty small pool, and they like to steal from one another. So you'll see they've got some quality underwriters there, just like all our major carriers do.
Well, ding, 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 you mentioned MassMutual. Look at that.
Yeah.
My goodness, things have really charged up here the past couple of weeks regarding MassMutual. Brokers all over the country are contacting us all day long for a contract. And this is exciting times. So there's something new that you wanted to share in this segment of GP Agency Live regarding MassMutual, and that was with the Worksite program.
And we'd been writing through one of our brokers their Worksite Solutions program, where it's guarantee issue, whole life insurance, and in our particular group, it's up to $25,000 per year for up to 4 years. So you could actually get up to $100,000 of whole life guarantee issue if the employer endorses this or allows us to market to the groups. So, and they just came out with their chronic illness in North Carolina that was approved. So we're excited about that, and that's actually at no added cost to the program. So they just stick it on there, and it's a charge if you ever execute it at the time you need the benefit.
Now, when we did our last broadcast referring to MassMutual, the other agency partner, which would be Angela McIlvain, she had mentioned that there was something we should have shed a little light on, and that's the tobacco underwriting with MassMutual. And then, so share a little bit about how MassMutual addresses that topic, and then some of the other carriers that do the same in a different fashion.
I wasn't even aware of it, so it was brought to my attention in the last week. But basically, if you were a smoker and you quit 12 months prior, you can get the top health class available.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
Say that again.
Yeah, so if you quit smoking 12 months ago, you're eligible for now the ultra preferred rate class. So a lot of our other carriers will require 2 years, even 3 years. But you had also mentioned what other carriers have something similar. John Hancock will give you non-tobacco rates, even though you're currently smoking. But you have to quit in the next 3 years in order to continue that rate. So, and they'll go back and you'll have to test and put an affidavit that you've quit smoking for 12 months. So there are some unique underwriting opportunities out there for those smokers. And we're in the Bible Belt here in the Southeast, so there's a lot of chewers and a lot of cigar smokers and cigarette smokers still.
So speaking of cigars, isn't Prudential one of those in the cigar arena?
Prue and Lincoln are two of our carriers that will consider them non-tobacco. You're allowed, I forget how many, you do have to show that you're tobacco-free in your blood work, but they will, I believe, allow up to 24 a year, and they're usually our go-to.
So we've talked about Hartford, MassMutual, John Hancock, Prudential, and those are just a handful of the carriers that we offer, but they're all heavy hitters. How many carriers does GP Agency offer our brokers nationwide?
You know, it seems to be a moving target on that. It's north of 50, probably less than 100. We brought on new carriers like Sons of Norway. Never in my life did I think I'd be representing a carrier named Sons of Norway, but they've got the most affordable, cash-rich final expense policy in the marketplace. It is funny, and you have to become a member. They tell me this changing their name, but I sort of like Sons of Norway.
I do too.
So we'll bring on new carriers like that, like we just did with Hartford. We brought on Cincinnati Life, which has a great return of premium rider on a term product that's pretty affordable there. So, and they do guarantee issue term life as well. So they're another one of our carriers. The other thing that comes to mind is probably the Focus 10 product. We may have discussed in a previous segment, but Emeritus, which if you have an employer pay group, 10 or more, they will give you up to $1 million of 10-year term insurance guarantee issue. That's fully convertible day 2. So like in my firm here, we've got 20 individuals. We put a program in place. Everybody, it's according to your income, the amount of people that work here, and they have a multiplier factor, and then you could apply for it. So it's a great opportunity we're working on 3 or 4 of these right now for those that have those groups. Usually the owner has some health conditions, the driving force, he or she, and they'll say, well, you got to give me 9 others with you in order for this program to work.
Want to go into the underwriting arena, and then we'll talk about some marketing that GP Agency offers the brokers. So let's start with the underwriting. This little brochure here, Life Carrier Solutions, and what that means is if you have a particular risk and you'd like to find out which carrier is going to give you the most valuable solution, We have that right here. So make sure to check the description below, and we can email that out to you. Would you like to add anything onto that, Chris? Maybe go into specifics about some of those
Yeah, on the
risks
website,
associated?
GPAgency.com, and then you go in there for life carrier solutions. Somebody looking for a 30 or 40-year term, legal and general protective. You've got somebody that had a DUI. Who's best for that? AXA, if they're longer than 3 years ago, Lincoln Protective, Pru. So this is your cheat sheet for all your clients' ailments and financial issues or anything that might happen like that. So we've scoured the industry and we've tried to make it as simple as possible for you.
So GP Agency is all about making sure to keep those people out there writing business, and we're here to support them in doing such.
Most definitely.
All right. So
For over 50 years, by the way, Todd.
over 50 years. Give us a brief history on GP Agency, Chris.
The GP comes from a gentleman named Gene Pleasance. He started this agency back in 1968 as a Transamerica career agency. Angela and I bought it from him about 15 years ago. At the time, he had maybe 8 or 9 carriers and about 6 or 7 employees. So now we've got over, like we were saying, between 50 and 100 carriers and 20 plus employees and over 3,000 brokers that we help to service.
Outstanding. So now in this segment, I'm just going to go over some of our marketing material. This one here, Buy It for Love, Keep It for Life. And this just shows how much life insurance you'll need in the event that something happens tomorrow. Chris, go ahead and elaborate a little bit.
Being an agent and, you sit down with somebody or start a family or whatever it is, and they say, well, Chris, how much coverage do you think I need? I mean, everybody's answer is different. You might want to leave millions to your children. Some say, I want to leave them with nothing. But you don't want to leave your spouse, significant other, and kids, left holding the bag with no coverage or no income. So a lot of folks think $250,000 is a lot of money, which it is. But if you think about it, average burial costs about $25,000 a year. So now you knock that off, so you're at $225,000 now. If you spread that over 30 years, that's $850 a month. Or over 20 years, $1,155. Even 10 years, you're at $2,086. So that's barely going to, pay your mortgage and, expenses if you have small kids or kids going to college, whatever it is. So it helps you scale out, and we can personalize this brochure for you to send out to your clients. It's in a PDF, so you can email it out to all your folks. So it's a great little piece that we use all the time.
Tell us more about the personalization process that you just mentioned. Elaborate. Let our brokers know what you mean by that.
We have full service marketing firm. So what we do, we found we're almost more of a marketing firm that offers insurance products now. So because with these new times, we're trying to figure out new creative ways to get in front of more folks. So we've got a full-time marketing person. She will just personalize whatever brochure, whatever you're thinking of doing. We've got a new system called Time Back that helps you build funnel systems through LinkedIn or Facebook or other social media like that. So we're getting creative. We're trying to figure out what's the best way to get you some leads coming in while you can't go out and shake hands anymore.
So among my calls this morning, I had a couple folks that were in the Medicare industry, and they wanted to do more life insurance. And so the reason I bring that up is we have this interview preparation for life insurance. Just gives you a little checklist of things you need to be aware of and be prepared for that interview. And you can download all those on our website at where?
GPAgency.com.
All right. So in closing, agency partner Chris Kerrigan, would you please share a little bit about our quarterly newsletter and how our viewers can get that sent to them?
Yeah, if you go on our website and log in and become one of our brokers, you'll get one of these every quarter, and then we send them out weekly updates on what carriers have changed or those type of things. Like SBLI is one of our newer carriers we brought back. We used to write them 5-6 years back. They got inundated in business, so the time service wasn't what we required. So they said they rectified that, so we brought them back, and now they were going to be one of our players. So you'll just get little snippets of things. I'm teaching probably 18 hours of CE next year. That's totally free, and I appreciate MassMutual, by the way, because they help us do all the background on that and actually provide it for free for us. So we definitely appreciate MassMutual on that one.
Now tell us about the CE credits. What states do we do the CE credits?
Currently, we have 6 states. So
Okay.
I'm applying for a lot more, and it's sort of It's a lot of work. So
Okay.
we're getting there. So hopefully, if you're in a different state that's non-eligible yet, we'll try to get to you as soon as possible.
Would you mind sharing those 6 states? Or is that putting you on the spot? I can
It is
cut
putting
that
me
out.
on the spot. I know North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Massachusetts. I can't remember the other two because
Okay.
they're just now starting to be approved. So we'll get in front of you as quick as possible. And Melinda does an excellent job. You just go on our website once again, log on, and it's usually from 11 to 1 o'clock. And you knock out 2 hours, learn a little bit. And it's funny, I was actually even audited by MassMutual last class, and she hit me up that Friday, said I was a little short on time on there, but other than that, she said we did a good job. So I was a little nervous there for a minute.
So in closing, you mentioned Melinda. Now tell everybody who Melinda is.
She is our marketing guru. She will create whatever piece you need, assuming you're in line for who's next. But she is one of our most valuable employees, and she's been great.
Does a great job. So what that means to the brokers that are aligned with GPAgency is if you see some marketing material that you like and you'd like to incorporate in your practice, just let us know, and she can put your contact information and logo on any of the marketing pieces, no charge.
That's it. So I'm trying to think if we forgot anything there.
Hey, this is the first time you're going to see this man speak. So we're going to wrap it up with the COVID underwriting.
And forgive me, I'm going to.
You got to. This is the first time you see him use a cheat sheet too.
Well, this just came in though, because we had a couple of clients that had been on the ventilator in the ICU unit.
I saw that.
And they were asking, how long do they have to wait before they get the insurance? So North American said 1 year. Prudential said 6 months, symptom free. Hancock may consider after 6 months, full recovery without symptoms. Mass is 6 months as well. Feel not testing positive, having lung or heart issues. Nationwide's a decline. Mutual of Omaha may be after 6 months, but maybe not. Principal 1 year after discharge from a hospital. So you can see where this underwriting process is a constant thing. So to keep up on it, it would be impossible to be an individual broker out there in your own shop.
Such a wide range, anywhere from 6 months to a
Decline,
year to a decline. So you, the agent, need to be aware of the expertise that GPAgency brings to the table. And we talked about the other partner, Angela, who's an underwriting guru. And we have a program. We've done some videos on a lot of the things we've talked about, but it's our underwriting program. What that means to you is you just fill out a simple pre-app form of information you already have on your client, and you send that to us, and we'll in turn broadcast that out to 25 plus carriers directly to their underwriting department. And within 48 hours, they'll come back with an answer as to whether or not they'll consider an offer, and if so, what the projected table rating would be. And at that point, you know which carriers you need to look into to find the best value to the most success and make sure that you get your client the quality coverage they deserve.
And not have to fill out 3 or 4 applications. You do it right the first time, and it streamlines everything, and doesn't hit your MIB if you hit with one carrier and that wasn't the right one to go. So we're going to try to streamline it up front. We've got a great team here. We've got Lyman, Teresa, Julia, all of our new business folks. I mean, we've got some seasoned individuals. Teresa's been here 30 plus years. Angela, 20 plus years. I'm 15 plus. Todd, you're our probably rookie in the last. Well, you've been here
I've
since
been working with GPAgency for 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
So what am I saying?
So that underwriting program, we've had some huge success with it, and one we like to brag about is the real big one, where the guy had multiple declines, and then he came to Angela, and what happened?
We had a 58-year-old business owner who since sold his business, but he needed as much life insurance as he could get. So we applied. He had prostate cancer. His doctor said, "You have prostate cancer." He goes, "No, I don't." Yeah, you do. 28 companies declined him. So we said, let's go back to the well one more time. Angela wrote up a great synopsis here on his condition and came back. We were able to get him standard. So the premium was $400,000. It was a 10-pay with one of our carriers. So the commission to my agent, who was an Aflac agent. So if you know Aflac, they're not used to seeing checks for $300,000. It changed his life, to say the least. But we were able to find him a home. It's funny, a year later, he actually wanted another $6 million of death benefit, where we were able to get him $6 million again. So this was term this time, so it was a little bit more challenging. So you never know what you're going to run into, but we've pretty much tripped over it. We've got about 300 plus pro athletes on the books. We do a lot of business with Lloyd's of London. So if you're not sure what to do with it, give us a call and we'll figure it out.
So you mentioned Lloyd's of London. It's the first time we mentioned it in this broadcast.
We've used them, and this is pretty unique to what Angela came up with this. Why don't we put a temporary policy in place? Because we know if it's a big case and it's going to be taking 6 months in underwriting, you hope it doesn't, but they haven't. So we can buy coverage temporary for 6 months or a year even, and get him or her that coverage they need until the underwriting process is completed. So it works hand in hand with our traditional domestic carriers. And then obviously on the disability for pro athletes, if they can't play ball anymore, they come to us, and we've helped many hundreds of clients over the years.
So one thing I wanted to piggyback on top of that is that one case we had 20-something declines, medical records, about how thick. And we have an RN that we send this information to that will condense those records that are that thick all into a one-pager that goes to the underwriting departments to give us an idea whether they'll consider an offer or not.
He's actually a physician, so was an underwriter at one of our major carriers. So we used to have an RN.
Gotcha. Well, I need to catch up.
So it's always changing here. And it does cost us $100 to $200 typically to have that broken down. So what we're going to ask is, we need an application submitted with this, because otherwise, because the carrier will reimburse us for that. If we don't submit the application, then I'm going to send you a bill. So plan on taking an application for those type of cases.
Very good. Well, you heard it here first, folks, here at GPAgency Live. So for more information, check the description below and give us a call. 800-283-8376. Anything else you want to add?
Merry Christmas. Happy
All
holidays.
right. Till next time, Merry Christmas and God bless.